Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about cast and convert. These are two functions that you'll need in order to keep your data clean and consistent. So, buckle up and get ready to learn as we dive into cast versus convert data quality champions. For those of you that are new to the channel, I'm Chris, and I've been in the data realm for 25 years. I have my master's degree, and I'm taking this time with you to try to share my knowledge with you so that you too can become a data master and achieve the career of your dreams. So let's jump right into cast and convert so that you can learn how to keep your data clean and consistent. Before we get started, I want to touch really quickly on a concept. This concept is called the ANSI standard. So it's ANSI. So the ANSI stands for the American National Standards Institute. This body does several things, but one of the things that it does is it's been involved in standardizing various programming languages for decades. One of the programming languages that it standardizes is SQL or SQL. And so it also standardizes things like C and C++. But today we're going to be talking about SQL. Some functions are ANSI standard. Can you guess which of the two that we're going to talk about today are? I'll give you a moment. All right, it's cast. Cast is ANSI standard. The other function that we'll be talking about today, convert. Convert is only available in SQL Server. So I'd like for you to keep that in mind as we go through this exercise. There are a couple other languages that convert it does exist in, and I'll show you which of those are at the end. So stick along to figure out which ones you could use convert in and which ones you could use, and everything you could use cast in actually. So even Snowflake. All right, first let's take a look at cast. So cast is used in SQL to convert a value from one data type to another, and so is convert. Again, it's part of the ANSI SQL standard, so it works across multiple database platforms like SQL Server, MySQL, Postgres, and several others, Oracle. You probably could use cast when you want to ensure, you typically would use cast when you want to ensure your data is properly formatted for things like reporting and analysis, and just in general when you're doing data engineering and you want a consistent format in the tables that you're putting data into. So it's one of the transformations you'll likely use as you're doing your data engineering workflows, your pipelines, whatever the case may be. I'm going to show you a quick query on the screen right here. And I'm going to show it right here. So you'll see that it says select cast, and then within parentheses it has the date, the keyword as, and then the data type that we want to change it to. And then we're going to alias that with another name for the field. So not really complex, not a whole lot of parts here to worry about, not a whole lot of moving parts. In general, you would replace where it has the date here with your date field in your table, and then say as instead of date. A lot of times you'll use date time, just to be consistent across your whole database, your whole data warehouse. So it's important to be consistent and concise when you're creating your data types for multiple reasons, efficiency, storage, size, things like that. So cast will help you to keep your data in a consistent and accurate format. So what about convert? Well, let's talk about it. This function is, again, specific to SQL Server. It's a bit more flexible than cast. The key difference, though, is convert allows you to format your data. So that's pretty cool. You don't have to add something else onto it. You don't have to nest functions together. And nesting is something that we'll get into further on down the line. But you don't have to basically put one inside of another, just like a Russian nesting doll. You don't have to stack them all inside of each other. You have the convert function. It will accept a data type, and then they accept the field that you're gonna convert. and then it'll accept a formatting piece. And the formatting piece is generally optional. But it does a great job of formatting dates in different ways. You can look up, and I'll put the link in the description below as to what numbers you use for what date formats. Again, SQL Server has great documentation around this function, but it's important to know that it's a function that you could use in SQL Server. A lot of you will be using SQL Server as one of the databases that you touch, so important to know that it's something that you can use, that you may come across. Generally, you'll see a lot of cast. I honestly don't use convert a ton unless there's a specific date format that some application needs and I'm doing a pipeline from my data warehouse back out into another application. So again, this is going to return the current date in the US format. So month, day, year, with the 4-digit year. This level of customization is something that Cast just doesn't provide natively. So it is nice to be able to have this formatting function in one function without having to nest multiple functions together. So when should you use Cast and when you should use Convert, or when should you use Convert? Which one is going to be the better choice? So here's the thing. For portability and consistency across platforms, it's good to be in the habit of using Cast. Again, it's available in multiple databases like MySQL, Postgres, Oracle, and several others. Snowflake. I mean, pretty much anything is going to have Cast because it is the ANSI standard. So it makes it a great choice for making sure that your SQL code is portable and that when you do migrate databases, you're not going to make any major changes to your code and how you're doing your cleaning of your data. On the other hand, Convert is only in SQL Server. So again, that's why you're going to use Cast if you think that there's a chance that this script is going to have to port to another database format. If you need that extra formatting power, Convert's definitely the way to go. Which one do you use more? Again, I use Cast more for sure. You may use Convert more if you are a wholly Microsoft house and you don't have to go outside of that. If you've used this before, let me know down in the comments which one you use the most, and if you maybe have a different option that you think is better. I am definitely open to learning as much as I've learned. So you all teach me sometimes as well. So let's take a look at a real world example where both functions could be useful. Suppose you're working with a date time column and you need to transform it into a readable string for a report. Here's how you could do it with both Cast and Convert using Azure Data Studio. Let's go take a look. All right, so here's our data. You'll see that we have our order ID, a Cast function, a couple of Convert lines, and then we have our original order date so that you can see what the original order date value looked like. So let's talk about the Cast first. So again, you'll see for Cast, we have Cast, the order date as date time, because we're converting it from a string to date time. And then we're going to say, we're going to call that order date Cast so that we get identified this as Cast and these two are converts. So you can see that it converts this 4-digit year, 2-digit month, 2-digit day to the same thing, but with a timestamp on it. Again, because we're telling it that it's going to be a date time instead of just a date. If we were to choose date here, then it would just be the date value. So I'll show you that real quick so that you could see the difference. You'll see that it cut off the time frame, and then we just have the date. Now, you'll see that let's take a look at the convert function. So the convert function, we are going to define it as a varchar, so the variable character, and what that means is it's basically a string. It's just text, right? We're telling it that it's not a date, but we want to return the text so that we could change around the format. If we were to convert it as a date or as a date time, then it would come back in that 4-digit year, 2-digit month, or 2-digit day, or whatever country, based on whatever country that you're in and what your database is set to. But it'll come back with what that standard format is for the country that you're in. Generally, the database format in US is going to be the 4-digit year with the 2-digit month and then 2-digit day. So we put varchar there again so that we could return the text and kind of change around the formatting. So there are a ton of numbers, 23 numbers, and associated duplicates, and I'll talk about that here in a second, to format your date in SQL Server. It's really cool. There are all kinds of options. If you want to put dots in between the month, day, and year, if you want to put dashes, if you want to put backslashes, if you want to put, if you want it to print out the words, if you want it to be the month, the day, comma, the year, or if you want it to just be a string of numbers, just the 4-digit year, the 2-digit month, the 2-digit day, without any dashes or anything in between each of them, then you could do that. Again, ton of options depending on what the needs are of your reporting and or the application that you're feeding the data into. Now, talked about, we have 23 numbers that we could use and their associated duplicates. So 20 numbers that you could use and their associated duplicates. So generally, what you're going to have is 13. 13. I'll get it right here in a second. 13 numbers and then their associated duplicates. So 26 in total. 1 through 23, because it goes 1 through 12 and then skips from 12 to 23, are 2-digit year. They're all formatted as having a 2-digit year. They're associated, let's call them parent numbers, that are in the hundreds. So you'll have 101 through 112, and then 120 and 121. Those numbers are your 4-digit years. And so you'll see here that I gave you an example using 7. So 7 prints out a 3-character month, your day and a 2-digit day, comma, and then your 7 does your 2-digit year. You'll see here on the screen that it goes from the 2-digit year to the 4-digit year when we're changing it from 7 to 107. So again, then you see the original order date. So I wanted to show you that there's different values that you could use. I'm going to do a couple more just to show you what they might look like and to show you that it does, what numbers you choose do matter. I personally use 101 and 1 a lot. And so you'll see here that it's that US standard, right? It's the 2-digit month / your 2-digit day / your 2-digit year for the 1, and then 101 is the 4-digit year. Honestly, I don't use the lower numbers very often because generally I want the 4-digit year. When people are used to seeing the 4-digit year, there was a time 25 years ago where especially before we rolled over into the 2000s, so I guess closer to the beginning of my career, that two-digit years were pretty popular, especially in the late 90s. 2-digit years were very popular, seen in various applications, in various formats. Anymore, generally, you're going to see the 4-digit years printed out when you're looking at an application or something like that. So 4-digit years is generally what you're going to go with, but know that you do have the option to do 2-digit years as well. All right, guys, to recap, use cast when you need to ensure that your code runs on multiple platforms, and use convert when you need to be able to explicitly format the text for your date that is going to come out, or for anything, if we have an explicit pattern that you need to use. For example, say you want to cast something, you want to convert something as money, then you could, convert it as varchar. You could add your your $sign or your pound, whatever your country's monetary indicator is, and put a decimal, your zeros with your decimal in there. Lots of different ways that you could use convert that we didn't cover, but I'll be sure to link the documentation to the SQL Server documentation down in the description. Thank you again so much for watching. I'm super excited this week. Just want to share this real quick. Our community has hit over 400 subscribers now. We're 412 at the time that I'm recording this. I am so ecstatic that our community continues to grow and that you all are hopefully getting some type of value out of these videos. I hope that's what that means, that people are joining because they're getting value out of these videos and learning and growing into the careers that they want to grow into. So I am ecstatic about that. If you're interested, we do have a Discord community. You could join our Gambill Data Sphere. Go to the Gambill Data Engineering website right up here. You could go to the contact page and shoot me an email if you ever have any questions or thoughts or things that you want to share with me. And then also go over to our services page and join our Gambill Data Sphere. That is where you could go to see our monthly code challenges, along with download any of our current or previous code challenge materials. In addition, you'll also, once you join the Gambill Data Sphere, you'll also again have access to the Discord channel that I just mentioned. So come join our community. I'm excited that you're here. And let me know down in the comments what you thought about the video. I appreciate your time, and I will talk to you next time.